Do you need to make a rental contract for a property in the Netherlands? I'm Floris from Dutch Realtor Training, and I've made a video here for you where I explain to you on how to make such a rental contract, but also how to read it. So come and we'll check it out together. Okay, so first is the client details, of course. I think that's pretty easy. Article 1 is basically what has been rented out. In this case, it's an apartment on the Waldeck Piermontstraat 22 Red. Now, it is said here that I have made a little addition in Article 1, and the tenant is not allowed to accommodate this property other than the persons above. I've blurred these two persons because this is a real rental contract. But let's say this was for John and Amy. John Johnson and Amy Johnson, whatever. It's important to write that in Article 1. And the reason is that if you don't do it, John can, let his mother also live here and his cousins and whatever. So you just want him and her to live here, not with any babies or cousins or family whatsoever. I rarely see that realtors use this, but this is a really good advice from me to you to do this if you make a rental contract. All right, so lots of stuff that's just standard. I'm going to skip that for now. You can just read it. For me, it's more important to go with you through the stuff that you can actually, edit yourself. This is a special contract. And it's pretty cool because this is a contract with a diplomatic clause. And a diplomatic clause is a clause that makes it for you as a landlord possible to temporarily rent out your property if you, for example, go and work in another country for a year or for 2 years. Or maybe that you're moving to another property in the Netherlands and you're going to live with a new partner as a test to see if you both like it. In special cases like this, it's possible to make a diplomatic clause. I'm not going any further into it, but what you have to know is that at this moment, in July 2024, it's not possible anymore just to normally temporarily rent out your property anymore, except with a diplomatic clause. That's why I picked this one for this example video. In this case, the tenant rents this property for 24 months starting on the May 8th. And after that period, the landlord himself needs the property back. Article 4 is, of course, the rent. There are no additional supplies and services here. And Article 4.4 is important. What you see in Article 4.4 is I let my tenants pay rent in advance per 2 months. The reason is the following. If this were a normal rental contract, so not with a diplomatic clause, but a normal rental contract, the tenants will always have like a cancellation period of that is equal to the number of months in which they pay the rent. So if they pay rent per 2 months, their cancellation period is 2 months. That's the reason why I have just written 2 months in this example contract. In case of the diplomatic contract, which this one officially is, the tenants are stuck for the entire period. Nobody knows this, but they rent it for a year. They have to rent it for a year. They cannot cancel it in between. Then there's all sorts of costs, mainly the municipality costs. What a lot of people and a lot of tenants don't know is that if you rent a property, then you're a landlord, you rent out a property, you will still get a municipality tax over that property. And you get it for the one part of the municipality cost, and we call that the zakelijke lasten. Zakelijke lasten. The tenants, on their hand, they're also getting an invoice from the municipality with the what we call the gebruikerslasten, such as the garbage containers that are being emptied, the sewer rights, stuff like that. We call that gebruikerskosten. Article 6 makes sure that you can increase the rent. And then it's becoming a bit more complicated because you want to know if this property has enough rental points in order to ask any rent you want. And if that's the case, then it really changes on the Dutch law. That changes almost, every couple of years. On how much, on which percentage you can increase the rent with. Or maybe there's no percentage at all and you can increase it with whatever you want. That really depends on the period that you are watching this video. So you always have to stay up to date yourself, I'm afraid of, or of course follow up our yearly refresher courses at dutchrealtortraining.nl. Of course, Article 7, there's a security deposit. In most cases, you see it's like 2 months, but maybe there are pets and, or maybe you want a bit more security and you have agreed upon 4 months of deposit. Article 9 is important because it could be that there is a property management company such as VK-makelaars, which is my real estate company, of course. That is the official property manager. So if tenants have a problem or a defect, they should not go to the landlord. They should first go to the property manager. So make sure that if that's the case, write that here. So basically, this is all standard. But if we go a little further, we go to service costs. And I think here is where it gets important. In this case, the property has to take care of the gas, water, and electricity, him or herself. But it could also be that it is a property with something we call central building heating, blokverwarming, where there are these little measuring devices on each radiator that measure how much warmth is being used, and that there is like a yearly settlement of the yearly heating cost. If that is the case, then it's really important to write in your rental contract how you are going to settle this with the tenant, and that the tenant is responsible for those heating costs. I have a property myself that I rent out where there is such a blokverwarming, and I let my tenants pay an advance payment, or I don't know, 150 euros a year. And then once a year, there's a settlement. And then maybe they get money back from me, or maybe they need to pay extra. So make sure you think about that. Also, if you rent out furniture, then you can write that here. Sometimes landlords, they just ask money for furniture. They want to specify it, that is like 100 euros a month. I don't really see the added value in that, but that's just my opinion. If you have property and you rent out furniture and it's a social housing property, so doesn't have enough rental points, and for example the Dutch law says you can only ask like 800 euros of rent, don't think you can be creative by just asking 250 euros for the furniture. Because the rule for furniture is that you need to have an invoice of that furniture, like it's new furniture, for example, and it was an invoice of €1,000 furniture investment. You can spread it out in 5 years and then only ask like 200 euros a year for the furniture rent. So what you need to remember is don't be creative on furniture rent in order to illegally higher the rental price. Then there's like lots of general rules that I won't go into now, but I should always add, if I were you, to the contract. I think most important is that smoking is really prohibited in the property. I think that is really important that you say that the tenants have to make sure that the property is professionally cleaned after the lease. I think it's important to also state that there are small defects they need to fix themselves according to the Dutch law. And there is a what we call herstel kleine gebreken, besluit herstel kleine gebreken. It's a part of it's an attachment of Dutch law where basically there's written on what stuff a tenant needs to take care of himself or herself. And trust me, most defects in the property, you couldn't imagine, but most defects, just a tenant needs to take care of it, her or himself. A leaking tap or whatever, it's all not of your business as a landlord. It doesn't mean that you can't do it, you should not do it. I mean, you can just, be a nice landlord. But officially, from Dutch law, there's not really much that you really need to fix. So that's good for you to know, to look that up. All right, so basically, this is mainly it. So this is a standard rental contract we call ROZ model. ROZ, there's a website called roz.nl where you can also get at least the Dutch version of this rental contract. And yeah, take good look. Be very careful. And always have it professionally checked if you're not experienced enough. Rental, personally, is much more tricky than selling and purchase, if you ask me, because the rental law in Holland is so complex. Luckily, we have a great training for that, Dutch Realtor Training.nl, where we learn you everything there is about to know about the rental law. So check it out. Thanks for watching this video and hope to see you at the next video.